back. Welcome to the last session, final session, prepared session. Christine, you made it. So, Kanban is tomorrow, and it's not really it's facilitated yet, not completed per se, right? So Kanban is a all right, so we're going to talk a little bit about retrospectives, its purpose, why we do them, the value, and then at the end, we're going to apply everything we've learned over the last 2 days. We should have probably started with there will be a test. So, surprise! Now we're actually going to exercise some of the stuff that we'll learn in this session, and it won't be tough. So I'm going to bring your anxiety back down. All right, so for retrospective, to kind of kick this off, to get us started thinking, at your table, I want you guys to talk about what is the value of the retrospective for you and your teams. Think about what some of the outcomes are and what maybe some of the interactions look like. So I'll give you a few minutes to discuss with your teams about the value, and then I'll ask you to share. Okay? Don't all start at once, but anytime now would be good.
There were times when we did that better. It's not a team action item. Sometimes it is. We don't know women. We do bring up value. Yeah, we write them down.
I think, yeah, that's me. I think the whole purpose of value algebra is taking a
I will say,
taking action on that, making it better. We held it action.
So we're gonna do this.
Use an Aaron as one. I will. So what do you guys come up with? What's the value of retrospective? Some of the just outcomes of it. Maybe the interactions. Opportunity to download.
An opportunity to encourage each other.
Opportunity to encourage.
To encourage, reward, thank each other,
Who knows, paddling back. Opportunity makes your next friend better. Change. You hear the phrase respect and adapt. That's the intent of it, right? Is make some observations. What are some of the outcomes? Action items on how we improve. How many of you on your team has an improvement backlog? That any? Okay, good. Okay, awesome. So, okay, good question. So think of your product backlog. It's a list of items that we want to do. They're not all equal in priority. You with me? An improvement backlog is akin to that, except they're specific to improvements that we as a team want to make. They are not all equal in priority. So, yeah, what I wanted to hit on is some of the outcomes. If you don't come out of a retrospective with at least one or two items to work on, or let me say one or two, not at least, one or two items to work on, retrospective probably wasn't very fruitful, right? The other piece of that is actually working on it. Because I see that happen too, right? We talk about this is really important to us, so let's work on it. Yep, awesome. We're going to work on it. We go to the next retrospective and say, hey, we're going to need to work on that thing again. Well, what did we do last time? Well, we didn't do anything. We're busy. We're busy with other stuff, right? So make sure it's something that's actionable, something that you will commit to, just as you would commit to working on your product backlog items. Because I got to tell you, if I'm a member of a team that says collaborations are number one issue, we need to collaborate better. Awesome, let's work on that. Let's figure out some ways to collaborate better and define what that is, right? Be specific. What does that look like? What does it mean? Because I want to have a target in the same way that I have acceptance criteria for user stories, right? What's my target? Yeah, we collaborated better. How? I am. Right? So be specific so that you know you're either on target or not, and then measure. So remember we talked about the other day, yesterday, whatever day that was, someday, about scientific method, right? Have a hypothesis, devise an experiment, know what result you're trying to hit, run your experiment, measure it. Did we achieve what we said, or what we hoped to achieve? If not, make another adaptation. Does that make sense? So make it actionable. What do the interactions look like in a retrospective?
Are they supposed to look like, or what do they?
Yes. Huh? Well, so let's be honest with one another. What do they look like? What do they actually look like?
Well, retrospectively, a lot of people staring at each other wondering who's going to talk next. Or me saying, "We've got 20 more minutes, we can all just sit here and stare at each other all here."
Well, we generally, my team generally goes through the quadrants, like what do we do well, what can we improve on, kudos, and process improvement, and everybody pitches in some ideas, and we discuss them, put them on a list, and forget about them.
But you know,
But honestly, that's, I mean, we tried to go back and revisit the list, but it took an exorbitant amount of time, so we haven't done that again. But I think,
you haven't done a retro yet? Or?
well, no, we haven't tried that approach again.
Okay.
Go back to, because it could be a lengthy list of ideas.
Right.
But I think the takeaway would be, you know, prioritize those things and limit it.
Yes.
And measure, act and measure. So those two things, I think, help. But, and that's what I was working for.
Thank you and good night.
We were mentioning during our discussion that a lot of times it's only a couple people talking, maybe, and a lot of times it's the introverts of the group don't tend to talk as much. They like to digest before they say too much, and so I don't know how much value they're getting because their concerns are not necessarily being observed and taken action upon. So how do you tackle that, right? Do you ask them to come up with some stuff before refinement and talk about during refinement? Is not, are you supposed to talk during the group? You have to get a little out of the shell a bit more.
There's a number of things there. You hit on one point that we're all different as human beings, and that's awesome, right? Some of us, like me, I'm going to speak. I just go. Karen is a thinker. She has to process. So I may react. Sometimes I say really dumb things, right? Right? I'll be honest.
I'm being very open here.
And we have to respect that. But at the same time, and you can ask the question, but it seems as if we're making an assumption here that their voice is not being heard. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe you ask the question of them, are you getting your needs met?
No, we haven't, but we're just like high level. Who's gonna get more from the conversation is gonna be the ones who are participating, right? If you're not participating, you're inhaling and you're digesting, which is good. And if they come back at a later time and make a comment or the next retro, that's great, but, I don't know. I think it's just, in some instances, I think it's just more the introvert. They don't like to, even if there's trust there, there's not want to communicate certain things.
So it's you because you're not saying anything in this retrospective. I feel like your voice isn't being heard. Is that true? And if not, that's, so again, that's how I might approach it. That may, depending on the individual, that may go into the conflict conversation. We have to understand one another and how we work with one another and have the open and honest conversation that, hey, this is how we want to do things, and if it doesn't work, let's talk about it. Let's do it differently next time. That's cool. But having that respect for one another. But at the same time, if I have a sense that you have something to say, I'm going to ask. And if you tell me, Ian, I'm going to move on. I'm going to respect that. But I might ask you if I feel like maybe there's something you need to bring up. So how do we get that out? I mean, directly ask you that question. Maybe one-on-one because I got a response and maybe kind of brush it aside. And okay, I still don't, I'm not sure, but I'm going to respect that for now. But I might talk to you afterwards, right? Just to see if I'm assuming that. Okay, this is my other question.
Well, I
I'm on a team that has 4 introverts. We're all introverts. And as you were, we struggled with exactly the same thing. And my thought was, introverts struggle with generalizing. So if you're putting things out there where you're asking for a generalization, how do you feel? How does this make you feel? Introverts shy away from that. I think introverts need a more focused question, like, hey, we didn't get all the stories done in this sprint. Why do you think that is? It's focused, it's something that's specific, and I think you might get something more directly out of the introvert that you're asking the question. Hey, do you think there's something that we could have done differently? That would, and maybe the conversation goes to, oh, we're not deciding to work correctly, we're not participating, we're not collaborating, I don't know. But I think the challenge is that generalizing the process, we need to be more focused.
What you described, powerful question, right? We talked a little bit about that. You've seen the comics, I've seen Dilbert's, what else? Robbie going, fine. Right? Give them an opportunity to answer something very simple. They will. But something more deep, thoughtful, introspective, powerful question. What about this is going well? Different now, right? So the use of powerful questions may help. Yes, understanding the people that you're working with, but respecting. Thanks, guys.
I think asking a particular person the questions is a good question. Because otherwise, they'll say, well,
Chris, I have a question from an inexperienced person in this. Is the retrospective the only place in the cycle where these discussions can happen, or are there other opportunities? Good question.
Nice. You planted them.
So, is retrospective the only time to bring this stuff up?
No.
Absolutely not. It's a regular checkpoint for us on teams. So I know we're going to have that discussion at some level. If it's something very critical, I was working with a team that I'm at my desk and I'm holding a quick retrospective with the team. All right. And it was important enough to them, they didn't want to wait for the retrospective because things were kind of unraveling from the team. And for me as a scrum master on that particular team, I applauded that behavior, right? Because they wanted to have that discussion right now. It's important. We've got to change things now or we are going to fail. Or it's going to hurt or something, right? So don't wait, but have it a regular part of your improvement plan. And we know we can get there every 2 weeks or every week, whatever your cycle is. So moving on to, we like definitions apparently, so I'll give you a few definitions. From Oxford, looking back on or dealing with past events or situations. It's kind of what we do in a retrospective, to look back. Dictionary.com, directed to the past, contemplative the past situations. Scrum Guide, I'll talk about Scrum Guide. An opportunity for the Scrum team, so this is specific to Scrum, to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the week's sprint. So again, inspect itself and create a plan, right? And that plan is to be enacted on the next sprint. Esther Derby and forget the guy, first name. Anyway, retrospectives help teams, even great ones keep improving. So I've heard on a team that I've worked with in the past, well, why do we keep having this? We're awesome. And they were awesome. But we should always strive to continue to improve. We could be awesomer. Right? That's the word. These days. But we could always improve. If you're doing fantastic at all the practices within that Scrum defines. You think you're nailing it on your daily Scrums? You think you're nailing it in the planning? You think your retrospectives are awesome? Keep doing that, okay? But then start taking a look at technical practices maybe for other things that could enhance your ability to deliver more effectively, with higher quality, more customer delight, right? Ultimately, we're delivering something to our customers. We want to make sure they're happy. So don't stop. Keep improving. In the Scrum Guide, it talks about the purpose. To inspect how the last sprint went with regards to people, relationships, process, and tools. Did we talk about all these things in our retrospectives? No? Where do we focus? Where do we generally focus?
The work.
Yeah, those are easy, right? Why are they easy? It's not personal at all. But as human beings within this system being the Scrum team and everything that's outside of it, et cetera, we have a role to play within that. How we relate to one another, work with one another, we have a role. And if Richie and I aren't talking well, probably not working well, especially if I need her help. I know she has knowledge, but I have issues. It's not helpful for the team, right? So let's talk about how, now again, let's depersonalize it as much as we can, but it is about the people and relationships, right? So how are we communicating as a team is where you should focus. Not how is, Chi and Chris obviously have an issue with one another, they need to communicate better. It's probably maybe a one-on-one conversation or maybe bring in a third party, right? But if this is pervasive throughout the team, let's talk about how we're interacting, what's working with it, what's not. If we have working agreements, we talk about behavior norms, or we have conflict protocol. Some of this should be articulated. This is how we want to relate. This is how we want to work. This is how we want to communicate. So again, I'm a middle child, right? And as such, I fit the bill. I'm a peacekeeper. I avoid conflict at all costs, okay? And I lose my train of thought. Well, that's embarrassing. It'll come to me tomorrow. I'll get back to you. So come back. So identify and order the major items that went well, potential improvements. So again, building that improvement backlog. Prioritizing, right? Why would we talk about what went well? Keep doing it. Maybe it could be weller. If we could be awesomer, we could be weller. Maybe that. Right? Yeah, don't lose sight of the things that are going really well. That's important to capture, right? And maybe there's a small tweak that will make it even better. And then potential, identify and order those. Create a plan. What are you going to do about it? Now you've got a list of things that you want to work on, or you think you might want to work on. You've prioritized it. All good. Now make a plan. How do you improve? Yes, sir?
I think there's an important distinction on the items that went well. That is, I think most important to talk about items that went well that you didn't expect to surprise you. Items that went poorly that you didn't expect to go poorly. Because those are the outliers.
Yeah. So do you have an example? Ooh, that's okay. I agree with you. I mean, having the conversation about these things and everything in between is a good conversation to have as a group. It's by you articulating, so let's say someone puts on the board, this went awesome. You're kind of scratching your head. I agree, but when we started out, I didn't think it would. And I didn't think it would because, right? So what about it made it go well? Because I want to repeat that what about it, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of our what went well discussions are the same things every time. Yeah, we helped out when someone needed help. Yeah, that's great. Our team does that pretty well. And we don't need to focus on that.
So what do you do?
To create a plan, do you identify who is responsible for that plan and who is going to hold that person or those people accountable for that plan before you move through?
Maybe. I've done it. I've done that with teams. I've basically given an owner, someone who's mostly vested in it. I want to be careful from doing that in the sense that, Chris wrote up on the board, collaboration's a problem. All right, Chris, you own it. Now I've just decented.
I think it's a question. I think it's, okay, these are our action items, or these are improvements, or here's what we want to take away. Who wants to be part of that?
Yeah.
Or who has bandwidth to take action on that? Because you can just write up 10 actions when we leave and then out the door, and then we get to the next one, write up 10 more action, and no one's held accountable. And it's the same cycle over and over and over and over and over. That if we don't start saying, okay, here are our top 5 things we want to improve, who is taking action on these top 2 as a team? Not just because you wrote it up there, you're accountable, but
Yeah, and I'm only making the point to be careful that,
yeah, I mean, I don't think that that's right. Like, whoever writes it or says it should be accountable. I think it should be a discussion, but if you don't do that when you leave, I feel like you just keep writing the same things each time you leave Kaizen.
give it a try. And then again, if you give a process owner or an owner of this improvement, they don't necessarily do all the work. They don't solicit help from others. Measure and see how that's working for you. Does that help foster the behavior that you guys want as a team, right? So by virtue of putting an owner of it, is it getting done better than it was before? So look at it in that vein. You had a
I was
really
just gonna say,
wonderful
when we
question.
do ours, at the end of it, like, we have a list of things people suggested that we work on. As a team, we will agree on 2 to 3 that we wanna try, because you can't fix 10 things at once, right?
Right.
You can maybe fix a couple. So, agree as a team to we're gonna focus on these 2, and then you have to come back to it at the next retro and say, did that work? And if you keep working on these, or can we?
So yeah, you should just have to, as a team, you hold each other accountable, but you know exactly as a team what to do.
My problem is we do that, and I challenge them every time we do this. And also, we're committing to those when we come back in that same retrospective, and we either have to check the box that says we did or didn't, and we don't check the box because, forgot about that. So, the suggestion to fix that is to actually just create the PBI that sits in your spreadsheet, look at everything, do that. But no matter what team I've been on, we've always struggled with, okay, cool, we're leaving here, we have a plan, we're gonna be awesome for the next 2 weeks, and then, no, or we're gonna do these 2 things, we come back and, dang it, we forgot to do them, or we didn't have a chance, so.
As a member of one of those teams, I think what part of the problem is, we see it there, we don't see it again. So maybe bring it up during, and during, on the overtime. Just bring it up maybe a couple of times during the sprint. Just as a reminder, these are the things that we said that we were gonna work on.
I'll be honest with you, we tried that and it still didn't help. It
Still
seemed
didn't
like the
work?
minute we're done with the day, the people are off and running. Or some people would get annoyed because they'd be like, okay, parking lot, okay, let me bring up these are the things we agreed that we're gonna try this sprint, and then it got annoying. People were like, yeah, I got 5 out, I've got my capacity, I've got tasks I pulled that I need to, when I get those tasks, I'll consider it. So one of the things we started doing to help, and sometimes it works, John, sometimes it doesn't. If there's one, it's like, okay, if we can come up with a plan during the retrospective, that's the best case. Because you're there, you're talking about it, what's the plan? But if it requires some research or a plan outside, then usually 1 or 2 people say, hey, Carl would be like, hey, I'll take that since it's all work on.
Here's the deal. Every team dynamic is a little bit different, right? And we're all part of the same human race, but because we're all very different people, our triggers, our responses are very different within that group, and the dynamics dictate sometimes what those may be. Point is here is try something, and articulate what you expect from that thing that you're trying, a little experiment. If you're not getting the behavior, because these are behaviors, they're not retrospective problems per se, because it sounds like you're doing the right things, you're coming out of a retrospective with a plan, and then there's, maybe execute said plan, and then you forget about it, and then things drop right back off again, or maybe things aren't getting done, even though, so all the different scenarios that we've seen, but identify it, and I think where, my head goes at some of these things is, hey guys, we had a retrospective, we had a plan, everybody said cool, so these are the two things we're gonna work on, and we did work on, and we were awesome the next sprint, and then the next sprint we were not awesome. So bringing it back to the table and saying what happened here, because we did some things that were really cool, and then we kind of fell backwards. So bringing that back up. As far as stuff getting done, you've got to make it visible, right? I mean, if we don't identify the work, maybe we identify it in a spreadsheet, it's over here. But we don't give it a lot of attention because all this other stuff is right in my face, right? And so that's another challenge that I think teams have sometimes, is that it's not visible. Because it's something different. I'm not necessarily delivering that thing to my customer, although I might argue that by improving my collaboration, it improves my productivity. My productivity gives me the ability to deliver more stuff to my customer, right? So thinking of it in those terms may help.
So what are ways to make it visible, or what are ways that you've seen to make it visible? I know it's also PBI, but that could also speak data. But so what are ways that you've seen teams do to make it visible with a multi-location team?
How would it skew data?
If you have a PBI that is just saying, hey, practice this, make sure you do this.
As long as it doesn't have every point on it, shouldn't it?
Yeah. And that's, I wouldn't point it. It does take effort in some cases, or it's just it's effort, but it's not any more effort than what I'm meaning. Meaning, if we need to get better at communication, which we see a lot of times on teams, yes, it takes effort, but it's not like effort on the keyboard type of thing. It's a conscious thought effort to, we said we would communicate this way, and that would be better, right? Make sense? So, if you're participating in retrospective, you need that definition. The definition of what a retrospective, what the Scrum guy said in the retrospective. Right here, obviously, Scrum team would expect itself to create a plan, improvement. Do you know what to do differently based on this definition? Are you meeting the purpose?
Meaning is a strong word.
What's a strong word?
Cheat.
We're working towards that direction.
Good. How might an activity like a retrospective help your team? We talked about it up front. We talked about some of the challenges we have from it.
One of those things we talked about at our table is morale issue. It takes a failure.
Awesome.
Can you give an example?
You get the draw.
Do you have an example? I heard that somewhere. Do you have an example where that might?
Sure, I got an example. We found that we weren't finishing all of our PBIs at least. It's pretty consistent. So one of the things we talked about was making a got the chance to meet a certain point during the sprint, just to see level, I guess, and then take the stand up. And then decide if we need to swarm on at one story and get those finished. And then it didn't work the first sprint. So the next sprint we decided we needed to have it earlier, so we had time to actually shift. So we took failures that we were having and made it into an opportunity to develop.
Nice. Anybody else want to share?
It's great.
Anybody else want to share something relevant?
I was thinking about that last bullet, that last question. I think that's an opportunity where you can practice holding each other accountable. You can practice those skill sets of conflict management. I mean, it may be that you should always be doing that, but that, it seems like a place that you can really dive into and practice.
Yeah, how many of you bring up, so we had a retrospective, we talked about having better communication. We committed to doing something, we had a plan around that. We had what better we articulated what better communication looked like. And then came to the next retrospective, how many of you review that and say, all right, here's what we said we were gonna work on. How did we do, guys? Right? Because that's the other piece. If we're not doing that, then I start to question, why are we even doing retrospective? Right? I want to make it valuable for each and every person in the room. We talked about something that was important. I think it's a great activity. But we need to come back and say, here are the things we said we would do. Did we do them? How did we do them? Sometimes I may do like a grading system because it's kind of fun, kind of like the points where we throw the cards up. I'll have an A, B, C, D, F or something. Say, let's grade it.